This lesson for the Quantity Project class returns to the principle that we've applied often in this class. Find a controversy, find that energy, and then we can apply the languages where we might not have the energy to apply the languages. So we'll look at Psalm 147:5 in light of a recent controversy between the world-renowned James R. White of Alpha and Omega Ministries. He had a debate, that is, a debate occurred between him and a man named A.K. Richardson. Well, in the debate, the topic arose about free will choices. Dr. James R. White had conceded that at one time Adam had free will, libertarian, and yet God was sovereign. So he didn't see a contradiction at that time. He said that was short-lived and that changed after the fall. But then the question was, continuing with, let's say, trillions of free will choices, and how would God accomplish, let's say, that his determinate counsel of having Jesus on the cross at that particular time that God had determined. So just for, let's say, just fun, not ridicule or being pejorative or diminutive, but let's just say that anytime someone, let's say like a James R. White, questions whether or not God could handle trillions of free will choices and still have a constant outcome, just throw pi in his face, okay? So let's look at Psalm 147:5. There we go. We'll start over here because we'll look in the Hebrew first. This is Gadol. Then we'll do the Septuagint. So a great, and this would be Lord, a great Lord. Then it says Adonai, our Lord. So our Lord is, put that there too, is a great Lord. And it says, and the Rav, have to go a little slower with the Hebrew, but that's like Dr. Murray says, hurry and Hebrew do not go together. So, and this is, and exceeding, that's the word and of exceedingly, exceedingly great power. There we go. And of exceedingly great power. There's a construct state there. And of exceedingly great power. So there we go. We've got that. So then we have Leith Vu. There we go. Leith Vu Na Tho. There we go. Leith Vu Na Tho. And this is according to, learned that in our Hebrew class, my first year under Dr. Randy Murray, according to his, finish that, Lith Vunatho, according to his understanding. There we go. According to his understanding, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then we have, well, let me go here. I need that room over there later. Ein. This is not. And then we have Mispar. Like I said, take your time with this. Mispar. So numerable. So our word would be innumerable. His understanding is innumerable. So let's go to the Septuagint version of this, which is our Koine Greek. And it says mega. It says a great Lord. And then we'll put, okay, so the Kyrios, the Lord Hamon of us. Yeah, so a great Lord is the Lord of us, and megale, there we go, and a great, my marker's giving up, a great strength, there we go, great strength, draw that ends the Hebrew, that's the Hebrew version, and a great strength, hey, iskis, is the strength autou of him, and then we have and kai sin eseos and autou, and his understanding is esteem, uk is not arithmos, sorry, that's arithmetic. I'm just going to write it out like that. It's not arithmetic. So that's where I believe the translation says is infinite, his wisdom. And then as I was going to just say, now I freehanded, so we'll grade that in just a moment. So let me get out my homemade compass here I made. Should have had that ready so not to delay the class. Get out my homemade compass here. And then remind us of things we've studied. And like I said, when I say throw pi in someone's face, I'm talking about the number pi from the Greek letter that we know so well. There we go. So here we have, as my trusty homemade compass tells me. So we have from this center here, right here, this would be called radius. And you know that circumference equals pi times diameter. Pi equals 3.141592653. That's just on and on. As a matter of fact, I'll just go ahead and write that down. As of last year, the number of decimal places that have been counted by some supercomputer is over 100, is greater than 105 trillion decimal places. There we go. And we've covered this before, so we have only doing this because there's a controversy. And apparently, Dr. James R. White is allegedly have said that how could God have handled all those free will choices and still brought about his determinate counsel. But this is where we can just pay a little bit of attention here. Diameter equals 2 times r, and then we've got pi. And then so what we've got here is circumference would then equal 2 pi r. Now, circumference is a constant, so circumference is a constant. So let's say in this case, the constant is the crucifixion of Jesus. Yeah, that'll work. Christ crucified. That's good because the word constant starts with a C. Christ crucified. So that's our constant right there. So that'll be our constant. How would God, over all those years with all those people, how would he deal with this? Well, we notice that if we take circumference as a constant, well, you plug in, how is it that you can take an infinite non-repeating decimal, and now we have got more than 105 trillion decimal places? That's, well, I can't even, my mind can't go there, but would we then, all we'd have to do is ask, if you're in a debate about, I think they're calling it libertarian free will choices, and we know in the Bible man's a causal being, a causal agent, the Hiphil active and Haphil passive. The Bible teaches that we've more than defined the idea of free will being we're causal, we're persuadable, we are persuaded to cause something, and we can be caused, as we know. We can be misled, as the churches in Galatians 5:8 says that this persuasion is not from God. So here's the question: does God know the value of pi? Well, of course he does. It's an infinite, however, and to date, the best we could do was supercomputers. I think that was in like 2024. And here's the constant. So no, it's not a problem for God at all. So if that's exactly what James R. White said, I'm sure he erred, as some would say. Let me back up and let you see the board and get an eye on what we've got there. Okay, looks like, I'm trying to think here. Okay, and the strength of him, and I left out particular. I wanted to put that there. I was really thinking about that. It's a definite article here. So this is, and that's worth it. To freehand it, I'd rather we all make a mistake. So his particular understanding, we can't calculate it, but we use an infinite. To date, we've gone over 105 trillion decimal places, but yet we have a constant. So you can take pi and any circle, whatever the size it is, and come up with a constant. So we've done this before, but that's why I was saying somewhat lightheartedly and trying to take this energy and guide it toward our lessons, which are very arduous if you have no value. People say, why study Greek? Why study Hebrew? Well, that's the point in this class. Find a controversy. So again, if someone, even a James R. White, calls into question the handling by God of trillions of libertarian free will choices, just throw pi in his face. So you have a blessed day. Enjoy this lesson.